Hello students, welcome back to part 3 tutorial of the database. Today we will be completing the forms and the report. The last tutorial we looked at the queries where we created 2 queries. If you did not watch that tutorial, please click on the tag at the top right hand corner of the screen so you can view that tutorial. Also, you will find tutorial 1 in the same spot at the top right hand corner. Alright, so this is the question that we have in front of us that we have been working with from tutorial 1. So we were required to create 3 tables, 2 queries, 2 forms, and a report. And we have completed the 3 tables already and the 2 queries in tutorial 1 and 2 respectively. So the question as it relates to the forms said that we should create a form and a subform to display the student and subject information and save the form as student form. Alright, so let us begin. So you're going to open the file that you already have, your 3 tables and your 2 queries. As you can see on the left hand side of mine, you can see my tables and queries. Alright, now what you're going to do, you're going to go to create, then you're going to go into form wizard. That's right here. When you do so, we are going to select 2 tables that we need. Now the form question section of the database said that, of the SBA, sorry, said that we should have the student and subject information. And if you remember, we have a student data table and a subject data table as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the student table right here. So you go to this section that says tables and queries and you select student data. Now if you look on the right hand side of this small window here, you see all the information relating to the students here. Now there are 2 symbols here. You can call them arrows, or they look at the right hand side, sorry, greater than sign. So you have 1 and you have 2. Now before I continue, let me quickly tell you what these are. These are responsible for moving these fields to this section, this empty box right here. The single arrow or the single greater than sign allows you to send over fields at a time, one at a time. The double greater than sign allows you to send everything over at once. So let me demonstrate. So this one, you can send them over one by the other, or this one allows you to send everything over at once. Alright? When you send everything over, the opposite appears, which is the less than sign, where it does the same thing. Okay? Now that you have understood that, let us populate this box right here with the necessary information. So we need students' information, which is every single thing right here. So you send over every single thing. We also need the subject data, which is everything relating to the subject. We do not need another student ID because we already have student ID right here. So the only thing that we need everything else except the student ID, which is mathematics, English, total subjects, number of practicals, number of orals. Alright? Then you select next. Now when you select next, you'll be transferred to this section. Right? And the question says, how do you want to view your data? So remember that the question said that it's going to display student data and the subject data, which is a subform. Now, if you realize the option that says form with subforms. So what we're going to do, we are going to allow the student data to be the main form and the subject data table to be the subform. And there's a demonstration right here where you have all the information relating to the student. The ID, first name, middle, last name, gender, date of birth, and telephone. And in a small box below, or a subform you can call it, you have the subject information, which is mathematics, English total subjects, number of practicals, and number of orals. When you have done this, please remember student ID should be selected first, subject data should be, student data, I'm sorry, should be selected first, subject data should be the subform, and the option of form with subforms should be selected. Then you click on next, right? And then it will ask you if you want to view it in the tabular form or datasheet form. All right. Now select it in the datasheet form for me, please. All right. Now, when you have done that, please remember that you need to rename your form. Right. So the question is, what titles do you want for your forms? And it gives you two options: student data or and the subform subject data subform. Now the question says that you should name the form as student FRM. See it right here. Let me highlight that for you so you can see that. Student FRM. Alright, that is what the form should be called. Alright, so I'm going to name this student FRM, and my subform will be called student FRM subform. Alright, or you could call it subject FRM, since as it is two different information. Subject FRM subform. Alright, then you click on finish. So right here you have the student information. As you can see, the ID, the student name, the student last name, the gender of the student, the date of birth of the student, and their telephone number. Alright, now right here shows you if this child does mathematics, how many subjects they are doing, right? Number of practicals and the number of orals that they're doing. All right. If you look at the bottom right here, you see 1 of 30. So on each page, it shows a different student. So if I move to this page, that's a different student. As you can see, the names are changing and the ID numbers are changing as well. All right, wonderful. So if you look to your left hand side, you will see that we have our form and subform. Just click on the X right here that says close student form, right? And there you go. You have your student form right here, your subject form, sorry, which is the subform right here, and the student form right here. Wonderful. Now that we are finished with that section, we are going to do our report. So we have completed the form question right here. So this is completed. So the final thing we're going to look at now is the report. Now the question says that create a report showing name of student, gender, date of birth, mathematics, English, total subjects, number of practicals, number of orals, and the total fee charged. The report is to be grouped by gender, sorted in ascending order by last name, show the total for the fees charged for each group, and have an appropriate title. Save the report as registration RPT. Okay, let us go back to our Access file. So you're going to go to create, and we are going to go to report wizard. Wonderful. Now have to remember what the question said that is needed. So it says that it needs the name, gender, date of birth, right? So gender, date of birth, maths, English, total subjects, number of practicals, and so forth. So let's go. So the student data is what we need first. All right. So student data is what we need first, which would have been the first name, last name, and so forth and so forth. All right. Good. Student ID will not be a part of the report. All right. Student ID will not be a part of the report. So you can send over everything else. Okay. So we have first name, middle, last name, gender, date of birth, and telephone. All right. Good. Let's move on. Okay, one more thing before we go. That's why it is very imperative that you check the question. Now, the question did not have telephone number in it. So what you can do is, as I demonstrated before, you click on telephone and the less than sign and send that over. So it's first, let us check it to be first, middle, and last. First, middle, and last, gender, and date of birth. Perfect, good. Then we need the information from the subject table, which is math. Yes or no if they did math or English, total subjects, number of practicals, number of orals. So you go to the subject data table. Math, English, right? Math, English, total subjects, number of practicals, number of orals. Wonderful. And there's anything else that we need? Total fees charged. So you go to the student payment table and you look for total fees charged, which is right there. Right, so that is everything. Just to do a quick check to make sure that all the fees that you need is their first name, middle, last, gender, date of birth, math, English, student subject, total subject, sorry, number of practicals, number of orals, total fees charged. Good. Next. Now the question said that the question says that the report is to be grouped by the gender and sorted in ascending order by last name. Okay, good. So the wizard asks, do you want to add any grouping levels? Yes. You're going to select on gender. You're going to double click on gender. And as you can see, gender is here and everything is grouped below gender. All right, wonderful. You click on next. Then it asks you to sort order of some information that you want in the detail record. So you want the last name to be in ascending order. So you select on the first section here, that's as number 1, you select the arrow, then you select a last name. And you can switch it from descending to ascending, but the question said that it should be in ascending order. So there you go. You go to the summary options now, because you want the total to be shown. You select on total fees charged and calculate percentage of total for sum. Alright, click on OK. Then you click on next. Alright, good. Now you're going to select landscape so that all the information can be shown on a piece of paper. Alright, so you're going to select the layout is going to be stepped and the orientation should be landscape. Adjust the field width so all fields fit on the page. Alright, make sure you have that selected as well. And then we're going to select next. And then it said to give your report an appropriate title. And it said it should be called Registration RPT. Registration RPT, which stands for report. You can preview the report first or modify the report design. Preview the report first. Select that one and then click on finish. So when you click on finish, as you can see, there are some issues as relates to over this side. The titles are not being shown properly, right? They're not being shown properly, and we have a lot of spaces here, right, that has been taken up. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift them around so everything can be seen. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to close print preview, right? And you're going to go into the layout view, right? You're going to check the sizes first and everything. This is where we are going to move some of these. So you can drag and drop points, you move that over, right, to make space for what is jumbled. All right, move that over. Date of birth, you move that over as well, because you want it to be organized. All right, move that over, whether or not the student the maths or English. So you have to make sure what you are selecting when you're pulling. All right, English, pull that over. All right, total subjects. All right. Now, if you realize that we have some space here, well, not enough space here, what you're going to do. So with right here now, what we're going to do is we're going to increase the width of this table. All right. So you're going to design, and you go to the design view, go to this section, and you widen everything right here. Give it enough space. All right. Then you go back into the design view and go back to the layout view. All right. Now, anybody does Excel knows that with here, when you see the pound sign, it means that you need more space so that it can be shown. All right. So you're going to expand the. All right. So as you can see, there's a margin here. We're going to remove this margin so everything can hold. So you go to page setup right here. You go to show margin and remove that margin so that these can be seen. So these numbers are the total fees that would have been charged, and you drag these to make sure they fall under its respective title. All right, number of orals, number of practicals. Just align them properly so that they are organized and look neat. All right. Good. Then we can move these to where they belong. Wonderful. So as you can see, everything now is underneath where they belong. Right? It is grouped by gender. Alright. Last name, first name, middle name. And as I said before, my students never have any middle name because this is just a sample. The date of birth, whether they do maths or English, total subject, number of practicals, number of orals. Now we have the sum, which need to be seen. So you expand these. Remember, when you see pound signs like this, it means that the cell needs to be widened so that the digits can be shown. Alright? Good. And once you do it for the top ones, everything else below will automatically fall in place. All you need to do after you have done this is go to the extreme bottom of the list where you have the grand total of the amount and you widen these as well. Alright? And there you would have it. And this is your registration report. Alright? This is your registration report. So that is the end of our database tutorial. You close it right here at the top right hand corner, right? The X that is right here. And then it's going to ask if you want to save. Yes, I do want to save. So at the end of this tutorial, as you can see, we have our 3 tables. We have our 2 queries, our 2 forms, our form and subform, and our registration report. So we have a student data table, student payment table, our subject data, our grant query, our mail query, our student form, our subform, and our registration report, all in one database. So what this database has taught us is how to, one, export tables from Excel to Access, right? It taught us that. It taught us how to change the data type for each field, right? For each data in the fields, how to add criteria, how to change field sizes. It also taught us how to create queries, right? And the different criteria in which the queries need to meet. Also taught us how to create formulas to get a specific data from the tables within a query. It taught us how to create a form, how to create a subform as well. And it also taught us to create a report and how to create a report to meet a specific target. So all these things were taught within tutorial 1, 2, and 3. I hope you all learned something today. All 3 tutorials is available. You can access them any single time. There will be more tutorials coming. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day.